Hello there, my name is Florian, and in this video, we're going to use Fantomas as a library. In previous videos, we talked about AST nodes, writer events, trivia, and compiler defines. Those were the main building blocks of Fantomas, and going forward, we're going to zoom in on little smaller topics. For this video, I want to explain how Fantomas can be used from a code perspective. If we head over to a script file, we can add a reference to the F# compiler service DLL and to the Fantomas DLL, and then open up fantomas.codeformatter. This is the public API listed for Fantomas. If we see, we can get the version, use the parse async, and the most popular ones, format document, format selection, or format AST. In the first example, we're going to show how we can use a format AST where we pass in existing AST nodes to Fantomas so that it doesn't need to do the creation of the AST nodes with checker. It already has the AST nodes, so it bypasses the first phase of the project. We can create AST ourselves. This is a somewhat academic example, so don't try this at home. But if we were to create AST for the following lab binding, we'll need a couple of ranges, and then we need a constant, 42. We need a pattern to bind the constant to, which is the A in this case. Then the binding itself uses the pattern and uses the expression, uses the constant. The binding is, in this case, if you just purely look at the source code, it is a top-level binding in a anonymous module. So we need to wrap the binding into a let binding. We need to wrap the let binding into a module. And that module then fits into a parsed implementation file, which is the highest level from the ASC perspective. If we have this parsed implementation, its counterpart would be a signature file. We can then create our AST node, which you can see is exactly what we expected. If we then open Fantomas and the default configuration, we can call code formatter format AST async. Let's run that. And then we get our expected string. Another option to format code is by using the source code, the more traditional approach. If we were to try and format this little snippet, we need a couple of other things for some setup. We'll need a checker and the parsing options. Why do we need this? This is actually something when Fantomas is being used from an editor, you mostly will already have a checker and the parsing options for other reasons. So if Writer or Ionite in VS Code uses Fantomas, they use this DLL we referenced up top, and they already have their checker and parsing options, so they bring them along. The advantage of bring your own checker is that the generation of the AST can be fairly quicker because it's already being cached inside of the checker, inside of the reactor of the F# compiler itself. So if we were to construct all these things and then pass it along to format document, you can see that I changed the default configuration to have strict mode on true. And if we now format the document with the public API, we can see that we have our output, but the comment was gone. And that's exactly why strict mode is introduced. Strict mode only looks at the AST nodes and doesn't do the trivia parsing that we did in previous videos to get the comment back where it should belong. So using strict mode is actually only a workaround to test how you can go and use the format AST async, how that would look like. So from an end user perspective, you should never use strict mode on true, because Fantomas will then try and format things with too little information and really just can't guarantee the proper outcome you expect that, well, no information was lost after formatting. Okay, that's all for today. The idea is to have little shorter zoomed in videos on smaller topics. If you have any requests on something you want to see in greater detail, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in next time. Keep on formatting. Cheers.